Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is having a great and safe evening. I just wanted to hop on super quick. We're starting to kind of fire up activity as we head into the about 7 o'clock hour. Starting to get some special weather statements, primarily across the northern portions of Brazos, Madison, and northwestern Grimes. And so I know a lot of you folks live in those areas, so I just wanted to go ahead and do a little dive in of what we are tracking and what we are expecting for the remainder of your night. The good news is that a lot of the activity that has moved into our neck of the woods has stayed subsevere. And if we take a little bit of a closer look at the specific system, you'll notice that it's very disorganized. And so not quite close to what we saw early this morning, where we saw that very strong line of storms. It was in a very straight line. That's why we saw those gusty winds. And this is very more scattered. But the reason why I wanted to start the line is because we're starting to introduce some of the activity as it moves south into North Brazos. And I can just read you all the verbiage from this special weather statement. Says a strong thunderstorm will impact northwestern Grimes, northern Brazos, and southwestern Madison counties through 7:45. So I'm going to stick with y'all through that time frame just so we can monitor these storms very closely, because as you know, things can change on a dime, and especially as these storms move into a very unstable, moisture-rich environment, they have more than enough ingredients to potentially get to stronger or severe categories. So the reason for the special weather statement was, of course, for wind. Radar indicated wind gusts upwards of 40 miles per hour. Locations impacted include northwestern Bryan, Madisonville, Bedias, Curtin, Wixon Valley, Bryan, Utilities, Iola, and North Zolch. So I wanted to go ahead, let's just put a velocity and see what we're looking at for those winds. Starting to see some higher reflectivities involved with there. So pinks or reds to pinks, just indicating to me that we're seeing a little bit of some heavier rainfall. Now moving just north of Curtin. Seth said, "Hi Cassidy, how are you doing on a Saturday night?" I'm doing good. Hoping that we can keep these storms. Hopefully we can get the rain, but it stays safe. So we just want to track these very close. Of course, Dana. We had kind of been talking about this second wave for a little bit now, so we knew they would be impactful. So I just wanted to hop on. April said, "How's Madisonville looking?" So Madisonville at the moment, y'all are just Madisonville. She's got some moderate to even heavy rainfall now just to the west of the area, but these storms are moving pretty quick to the east. And that higher reflectivity I was just talking about a second ago, you can see kind of this uphill gradient. We can pause it. Of the yellows to the oranges to the reds to the pinks. And this particular cluster finding a little bit of organization, and I think that's why we are watching for those gusty winds. So you can see if we could get a little pointer out here. Kind of this bowing out. We typically see these with mesoscale convective systems, so on a much more widespread. This one's a little bit smaller, but still impactful. So I want to look at wind speeds with y'all and just see what we're looking at here. And then we can take a look at this pink little core and see if we're pulling in any hail. This is north of Brazos County and west of Madison County. And again, this has a special weather statement tag until 7:45 p.m. for those gusty winds. So let's go ahead and put a... So I'm seeing a little bit of some broad rotation. That's where you see those greens and those reds kind of hugging together. And it's not typically want to see that indicates rotation, but it does look broad to me, so that is a good thing. But I'm going to watch this very closely. That next radar scan, it does look broad, but still not something that we want to see. So we're going to track that very closely. I'm just going to stick with y'all until I hear something different from the National Weather Service. Again, this isn't Severe thunderstorm tagged on it. It's just a special weather statement, so it's got the ingredients to potentially find that severe classification, but it's not there yet. So let's look at wind speeds now blowing. So this is 23 miles per hour, 20. This is radar indicated. April said it's bad in Madisonville. Yeah, it's getting a little hairy over there. The storms are moving quick. And again, moving into a moisture-rich environment, these storms have more than enough to get up and going. So let's take a closer look at Madisonville. She said it's getting bad there. So I've got some heavy rainfall. Heavy rainfall. We've got some reds just north of Madisonville, potentially cloud-to-ground lightning. April said, I'm scared. Seriously, don't be scared. We're good right now. No severe weather. We're just going to try and ride this out for the time being. But I'm going to be here every step of the way. So stay in close contact with our partners over at National Weather Service and definitely give you all the notifications. But right now we're just looking at some strong thunderstorms moving over the area. So I wanted to take a look at hail. So it's about a sub-severe hail core. Ashley said, are these less severe with rain that came in earlier? Right now, yes, these are less severe than what we saw early this morning. And that's pretty evident just by the disorganization of this system. And that's kind of the difference of why we're seeing this. So yeah, this morning it was, very cut and dry, straight mesoscale convective system moving to the east across the area. That's why we saw those very damaging wind gusts and a confirmed tornado in Grimes County and some very heavy rainfall. So Navasota. So a lot of this activity, and I'll just do kind of a broad stroke so y'all can get a little bit of a better idea of where most of the storms are at the moment. So really struggled to get out of our northern counties over the past 2 hours. We've kind of, the system has stalled a bit. It's still moving south, but it's slow. So I do anticipate that rainfall totals over Milam, Robertson, Leon County could be pretty good, upwards of an inch potentially. And I want to go back to Brazos County. So we're now starting to introduce some very light rain into Bryan. So we're very right here on the cusp moving into Bryan. And I believe these storms are moving east-southeast, but they're kind of backfilling to the south. And that's why we're seeing those storms slowly move to the south. So still got that pink in there. So still dropping heavy rainfall. North of Curtin, just on the border of Brazos and Robertson County. So, no update from the National Weather Service. Still a special weather statement. Yes, of course I can do a storm track. Let's clear this off for y'all. I hope everyone got some pretty significant rain this morning and stayed safe. I know there was obviously a handful of severe thunderstorm warnings, and it's not something that we want to see, but so let's go ahead and get a storm track. I think we're moving about east, southeast. Let's see. So about 26 knots. Let's get a better read here. Okay. Drag this out. And moving east about 29 knots. Okay. So here we go. 6:30 Kyle Field, 7:37 Iola, 7:49 Cooks Point, 7:55 Scott and White Clinic, and then around 8 o'clock for BCS. Obviously, these aren't going to be exact timing, but it gives you an idea of what to expect in terms of these storms reaching your area. I want to get rid of this sweeping radar that we've got going. So, there we go. Okay. So that's what we're looking at for timing. I'm not seeing a whole lot of weakening within the special weather warned system. So, especially just west of North Zolch, potentially be watching for some heavy rainfall moving into your area kind of soon. This little cluster has just been sticking in that northeastern corner of Brazos County for a while now. Now we're starting to enter some light to even moderate rain into the western portion of Bryan. But it's a messy picture the more west you go, especially. So Cooks Point, starting to see some heavy rainfall. And Milam County is just essentially covered with heavy rainfall out there. And one thing that I notice is while we're staying sub-severe at the moment, these are very, very electric thunderstorms. So it is going to be loud. It is going to be cloud to ground lightning. So I still want you to stay weather diligent out there. Just try to stay inside. Okay, let me read. Everyone, thank y'all so much for joining me. If y'all have any questions, concerns, please feel free to throw them in the chat and I can answer anything that you need. Hannah said, what can Anderson expect? We are a little anxious from this morning. I totally understand that. Y'all got kind of the scary stuff this morning. So Anderson, I think that you could expect some heavy rainfall and potentially, all of the things that we see with your generic thunderstorms, gusty winds, and potentially severe. Right now, everything is staying sub-severe, but like I was saying earlier, things can change on a dime. So I just want everyone to stay weather diligent through the remainder of the evening until we can get this system to move out. James said, when will the low pressure that caused all of this leave? Tomorrow. Tomorrow, thankfully. So it will be out of the area by tomorrow, and we should have clear skies once again. So I know a lot of y'all are asking about when we are going to be seeing rain and rumbles. This particular model is not doing a good job at initializing with the stuff that we have on radar right now, so don't get too attached to this timing, but it does give you an idea of what these models are trying to give us. So around, what time is it? About 40 minutes, this particular model has it moving to the south. I just don't see that happening quite yet. It's just slowed down, and we're really struggling to get into the northern portions of the area. This model is also struggling. So I would anticipate things to take a little bit to get to your counties. Okay. Let me catch up here. David Quinton, any tornado chances for Madisonville? At the moment, no. No tornado chances at the moment. But, again, like we saw early this morning, spin-ups are possible. So we can't completely rule it out. I'm not overly concerned with that. But we have to stay watching rotation very closely. Right now, though, the system that is over you, I'm not overly concerned. I do want to check in with velocity again because we're seeing some broad rotation, but I just wasn't seeing a lot. So still seeing that rotation. Haven't heard anything from the National Weather Service about this. And typically with those tornadoes, you see very high reflectivity, so you see a very bright red and a bright green, and that was very evident with that tornado that we saw early this morning. And it's tightly wound. And this rotation is essentially taking up the western half of Madisonville, so it's a broader rotation. So I'm not overly concerned with tornado in Madisonville at the moment. Okay. Any hail Ooh, I hear the wind coming in here at the station, so it's starting to get a little bit rowdy. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm trying to catch up. Caitlin said, any hail for Montgomery? Let's check in with that. Montgomery, I'm not seeing any hail signatures, but it's possible, I think, once this main line gets a little bit close to the southern portions of the area. Lauren, hail chances, Brian called station. It's possible. I think if we find any, it's potentially P to even pocket change size. I think it's going to stay sub-severe, but we're going to watch that closely because you kind of see these storms pulsing up. So they've got all the right ingredients to get a good updraft and get some hail going. But at the moment, no, I think P to pocket change size hail for now. Brandon Scully, how's Fayette County looking at any point tonight or in early morning? So by early morning, I think all of us are calmed down. Thankfully, this is going to last us through Saturday evening and then settle by the time we head into the evening. It's Fayette County, it's out here. And you've got some showers just north of I-10. But I think y'all could get clipped by the time the evening's all said and done. Carol, can you please put on? Yes, I can, Carol. I'll put on a timeline right now. Let's see. So we're moving. Again, the system's moving pretty fast, around 26 miles per hour. So, and this is just a rough estimate of when you can expect these storms to move in. So Badias in the next minute. BCS, that is knocking on your doorstep, 7:29. Deanville, 7:39. Snook, 7:45. Wellborn by 7:48. And then 8:09 Huntsville, 8:12 Somerville, and Anderson. The storm's got a very weird storm track. It's moving like this. So it's not kind of that linear up-down movement that we saw very clearly yesterday. Okay. So let's take one last look. Still a special weather statement from the National Weather Service, and I am anticipating that they will take this off for the northwest corner of... Oh, here we go. We're getting an update from our partners. So let's make sure. Roan's Prairie, okay. Raining good here in Franklin. Yeah, Franklin is seeing a lot of that. And we're finally starting to get these reds and oranges to move now into the northern portions of Burleson County, and this heavier rainfall now moving into Bryan and College Station. Felicia said, how long before the rain moves out? I think for the northern portions of the area, next 2.5 hours. For all of us across the 16 counties, by 10, 11. Definitely by midnight. So we got a long way to go. I can include Leon County. There you go. There we go. Yeah. Leon County, you're just filling in with some backfill light rain. But Alaska. Okay. All right. So I want to check in on this special weather statement once again, because that's the reason why we hopped on. And I don't know if you were with me earlier, but we saw a pretty pink center within this system. I'm not seeing that anymore. You can see it really dissolve on this radar loop. So let's just go ahead and pause it and see what we're reading for velocity, because winds and hail are going to be the main threat today. So it is picking up a little bit of some hail, but it's not severe hail. Got a little bit of an updraft, so I do want to see if we can get, so hail size P, if that. Definitely heavy rain, though, now moving across Solch, and it's just west of Madisonville. So Madisonville could start to see some heavier rain in the next 30 minutes. So getting an update here from the National Weather Service. They're typing something up. And I'll just go ahead and throw this back up here. This is the severe threat for the rest of your Saturday. So the more south you go, that's when that 2 out of 5 scattered risk comes into play. Or north and east, you're still in a 1 out of 5. So none of us are really out of the woods with severe weather. But I think as the system moves a little bit closer to a moisture-rich environment, thanks to that Gulf, just because we've kept southeast winds all day long, it's got more than enough moisture. And we had some pretty good clearing today. So I want to head back to radar. I could probably get a live eye if it's working for me. See what it's looking like. Is it pulls into? So those look like wet roads to me. Temperatures right now 72. So this is on Briarcrest, and it's raining. It does look like light rain because I'm still seeing cars. So we can go ahead and check in back with radar once again and see what we're looking at. And now I'm kind of seeing the trend where Leon, Houston County, you're seeing more light rain, and the system's trying to make its way really across our western counties now. Okay. So if you live in Bryan College Station, expect some heavy rainfall and potentially some rumbles of thunder very soon. Okay. So National Weather Service still typing out their messaging. Oh. Christopher said, will this round be as dangerous as the one this morning? I am leaning towards saying no. And the reason for that is because it's very disorganized. And you can see that here. With the line that we saw yesterday, we call it a mesoscale convective system. And it's essentially a very strong line of showers and thunderstorms that, you know, stick on a very straight line. And that's what give us those gusty winds and those spin ups embedded with that cell. But this is very organized. But like we saw in the outlook with the Storm Prediction Center, they did note that, you know, as this system gets a little bit closer to our southern counties, taps into a little bit more moisture, we could see some intensification of the activity. Now, in terms of impacts, I think we're watching for gusty winds and hail, but we can't completely rule out tornadoes. And that was evident that we saw that this morning. So Caldwell about to start to see some heavy rain. Amber said Midway, Leona area is pouring rain. Yeah, I do want to look at rainfall rates and see how much is falling. And you can see that all of these higher reds, that's heavy rainfall, and that's why we have that flood watch in effect. So let's stop it for now. And I want to zoom a little bit closer to us. See if we can get some rainfall rates in here. So this is North Burleson County. Northwest Lee County. And most of Milam County. Okay, so that says 3.9 inches per hour. So it's dropping very efficient rain. That is, I think I put my little, just on the border of Milam into Burleson County. So very efficient rainmakers, and Also want to note that that is why we are in a flood watch through Saturday. Just because our grounds are not primed, it's extremely dry, and it hasn't been a lot of time to soak up a lot of that rain that we saw this morning. And widespread totals, again, were 1 to 3 inches. So we'll be watching for that flood threat as well. Just make sure to stay off the roads if you can, potentially be watching for pooling and poor drainage areas on the road as well. Okay, I do want to pull in a little bit of our higher res radar. This is our BTU radar, the one that we have on campus, just so I can get a better idea. And I'm hearing it at the station, starting to pick up. And you can see that here on this radar loop that is going for us. Okay. Let me catch up with everyone. How will these storms affect our temperatures getting cooler from here on out? So actually, we'll have a cold front that comes in on Tuesday. That's going to knock us down to the upper 60s. So we'll have another another system to move through Tuesday, but I don't think it'll be as widespread as what we saw this weekend. Snook will take some more rain for sure. Much needed rain. Much needed rain. In fact, you're about to see that. It's just north, some heavier pockets of rain. Tammy said, when is lightning going to stop in Franklin? Let's get a better look at that. So, yep, very electric. That's just to the west of Franklin. And we can get this moving so we can just see a little bit of how these storms are tracking. So Franklin, you might start to continue to see some lightning as it moves east across the area. So still a little bit before we see that. I do want to put one more storm track in here for y'all, just so we can get a better idea of when you're home we'll start to see rain. And let me see. Okay, so we just heard from the National Weather Service. Let me read this. Okay, so I'm basically just going to sum up this verbiage that the National Weather Service just sent us. And similar to what I was saying, if you have just joined earlier, is that as this cluster, we've managed to stay subsevere for really the remainder of your early evening. But as it continues to move south, similar to where we saw that Storm Prediction Center outlook for strong to severe storms, we could start to see some re-intensification as these systems get to that moisture source. So we're going to watch that closely. At the moment in time, we're subsevere, but we could start to see some watches being populated. It's rumbling here at the station, and I'm sure it's rumbly for most of y'all. So I mentioned someone said, how is winds? Check that. Winds, not seeing any rotation at the moment here. This is Bryan College Station. So it's, again, this is radar indicated, so it's just 20 miles per hour. I don't know if I'm fully sold on that quite yet, but there was radar indicated 40 mile per hour winds with the system that just moved, and it is still, that special weather statement still in effect for another 9 minutes for North Bryan and Western Zolch, or Western Madisonville, so sorry. So I want to see if we can get a little better idea of our forecast models. Like I was saying earlier, not doing a great job with initializing this system, and it still looks like it's struggling to do so. Yeah, I just don't think that this will be past us by 9. So it is raining here in at the station, so I do want to get a quick live eye look outside. I'm going to take a sip of water. So it is storming, temperatures in the low 70s. Visibility doesn't look too bad on this camera specifically. We can take it back to radar. So at the moment, to those of us finding the activity overhead, it's heavy rainfall, gusty winds. And of course, we are in a flood watch through the remainder of your Saturday. And I think that is definitely applicable to our friends to the south. I know I was mentioning this Storm Prediction Center outlook. All of us included in an outlook for severe weather, but that risk increases as you head to the south. And that was similar to the verbiage that the National Weather Service was saying to us. Again, as these storms move to the south, we could start to see some re-intensification, mainly for those straight line damaging wind gusts upwards of 60 miles per hour and small hail. So I still want you to stay diligent out there. As for our friends to the north, Milam, Robertson, Leon County, you're still seeing some heavy rain, but a lot of that is pushing to the south, and I want to get a closer look here in town because it is coming down hard. So got a heavier pocket of rain just east of Bryan College Station, so I do want to look at rainfall rates with that. And thank y'all so much for joining me this evening. Hope everyone is staying safe out there and watching me from the couch. And have a good movie on. Okay. So this is winds. Look at a little bit up closer. In that higher reflectivity storm, just north and west of Bryan College Station, expected to move into the area over the next few minutes or so. So I want to pause it here, and I want to take a look at winds and what we can expect. It's 23 miles per hour. 22 miles per hour, so still impactful winds. Still no severe thunderstorm warnings, but I am going to stick with y'all through this special weather statement. But everyone's saying sub-severe right now, just heavy rain and lightning, rumbles of thunder. It's loud. Okay. Tanya said BCS. Yeah, it's imminent. If it hasn't come over your head yet in BCS, it is about to be in College Station. South College Station, you're dry. Milliken, yeah, haven't quite seen the rain yet, but I do anticipate you will very soon. In fact, we can do another storm track. So I am starting to see a little bit more organization within this line than we did this about an hour, 2 hours ago. This is moving 34 knots. It's moving fast. Okay. And it's moving east. Okay. So here we go. You have your see your city. That's just an estimate of when you could start to see some rain and rumbles move overhead. So Caldwell 7:51. That's in the next about 10 to 11 minutes. Trinity 8:15. Riverside 8:18. 8:22 for Snook, and Shiro 8:31. Wilcox 8:36. So in the next 30 minutes to an hour. This storm's still going to move south. So I want to break down impacts and just what we are watching and what the concerns were going into the second wave of storms. It's very similar to what we saw yesterday, but this time it's more centered to the southern portion of the area versus this morning. It was the entirety. All of us had the 2 out of 5 risk, and rightfully so, because we saw those severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. So, for your tornado, few possible. Overall, low concern, but it's non-zero. Of course, that risk increases the more south you go, and of course, as the system enters more unstable environment, hail pocket change sized to potentially quarter size under stronger storm winds upwards of 60 miles per hour and even 40 miles per hour. So those are just the impacts that we're watching at this moment in time, and especially as the system continues to move south. We can take a look at rainfall totals this morning, and this just gives you an idea of why we are in a flood watch, because all of us, or if most of us, saw over an inch of rain. These might not be the exact values that you found at home, but it gives you an idea of how much. Jay said this thunder is no joke, for sure. Oh, here we go. Okay, we got another special weather statement from the National Weather Service. So go ahead and read y'all their verbiage. This one is set to expire 8:30. And so let me highlight. Get a little bit closer to this storm. So, strong thunderstorm will impact central Burleson, northwestern Grimes, and central Brazos counties through 8:30 p.m. So that's in the next 50 minutes. And what the tag was for was wind gusts upwards of 40 miles per hour in pea-size hail. So, not severe, but it has all the ingredients to get there. So, for some reason, my radar not pulling up the 40 mile per hour winds, but I want y'all to keep that in mind if you do live in those areas. So again, northwestern Grimes and central Brazos counties through 8:30 for that pea-size hail and gusty winds. So let's get a hail scope in here and see what we're looking at. Okay. Central Burleson, northwestern Grimes, and central Brazos counties. So there's that hail signature. This is near Caldwell, just north of Caldwell. So Caldwell, it's raining, it's thundering, it's loud. And you might be seeing some pea-size hail. That's still sub-severe, but I want you to try and stay inside and away from windows if you can. So we'll pull in these hail cores. Here we go. So usually when we see severe hail, it's we're getting in the blues and the whites. So what I'm seeing here just north of Caldwell and west of Cooks Point, those are those grays. So again, sub-severe, but still impactful. And I still want y'all to still keep this in mind. We could see some intensification. So there you go. Pea-size hail, that's just on the border, just north of Cooks Point on the border of Burleson and Milam County. Both of these cells pulling in pea-size hail, embedded with that heavy rainfall and thunder. So we're watching out for that. Do want to look. They did mention central Brazos counties. So they kind of just broad stroked the area. So I want to just check out and see if we're seeing any other hail signatures. And I'm not really seeing a whole lot. We're just going to go big. Yeah. Not seeing a whole lot. I think most of the hail right now is just north of Caldwell. So for friends in Caldwell, try to stay inside if you can. Okay. Get this off. I do want to look at wind speed once again because they did mention that. We're seeing gusty winds. Okay. Phyllis said going to directly hit Cook's Point, I definitely think you see rain in the next few minutes, potentially 30. Suzanne watching from Harvey, thank y'all for joining me this evening. If you are just joining me, we have a special weather statement in effect for central Brazos counties, northwestern Grimes, and central Burleson through 8:30. So I'm just gonna hang. I'm gonna hang with y'all. Continue to watch these storms. We're starting to see them pick up a little bit more activity. They were staying tame early this evening, and they've just tapped into some Gulf moisture, and we're starting to see some intensification, and I anticipate that trend to continue the more south we go. So just broad stroking velocity, I'm not seeing any rotation, but these are some higher reds that you can see just north of Caldwell, and when we start to see those brighter colors, that kind of indicates that we're seeing those gusty straight line damaging wind gusts. Of course, those are 40 miles per hour. My little wind has not picked up. So there we go. 30 miles per hour. 29. So this is just north of Caldwell and North Burleson. So Cook's Point, Phyllis, you might be starting to see some heavy rain. It is knocking on the doorstep if not seen it already. Oh, hail. You could potentially see some pea-sized hail. Yes, ma'am. And that was one of the reasons why we have this special weather statement in effect. So we can go ahead and check back in. Not seeing a whole lot of color. Again, I was saying earlier that when we start to see those whites and blues, that's when we start to see that severe hail threat, but these are gray. So that's indicating that we're looking at pea to pocket change size at the moment. And this is just, let's see what highway this is. Okay, Highway 36, north of Caldwell. For friends there, and then just in that northeastern county, or northeastern portion of Burleson County, still picking up some pea-sized hail signatures. So for folks in that area, just try to stay inside. Again, it's sub-severe, but it's still impactful. And I know a lot of y'all have been mentioning lightning, and that is something that has been very frequent with these storms. They're very electric thunderstorms, so hopefully in a little bit we can see, okay, there we go, number of strikes. So 562 strikes, 30-minute duration. So it's rumbly, it's loud. I know it sounds scary. And yeah, we've kind of just watching our central counties. I do want to check out our friends in North Grimes County once again. They were included in that. Millie, yes. There we go. Okay. So Millie, you mentioned Bedias and Grimes County. Let's get a hail core. Right now it just looks like heavy rainfall and lightning. But y'all were included in the special weather statement, and I'm not seeing any hail signatures, but that could definitely change. But for now, it's just heavy rain. There we go. So heavy rain, lightning. It's loud. Megan, how's Madisonville? Here's Madisonville. It's covered in rain. And unfortunately, y'all kind of took the brunt of it, especially with northwestern Grimes. So what I'll do here is we'll look at hail. I'm not seeing a whole lot of hail signatures at this moment in time. Mainly have only found those in North Burleson. So for friends in Madisonville, you're good for hail at this moment, and winds not seeing any rotation, but still could experience your generic thunderstorm gusty winds. Those always come with those. So I know some of y'all were asking about Cliff tornado this morning was too close. Yeah. And thankfully we had meteorologist Berkeley Taylor and Max Crawford watching very, very early in the morning. They were able to catch that so fast. And we were able to warn our friends in Shiro and North Grimes, and thankfully no injuries. It did cause some damage though, and so I'm just thankful that everyone was safe last night. And so I do want to, this will work with me again, not seeing any tight rotation at the moment. Caldwell, and now moving into North Brazos, could start to see some gusty winds, especially over Hearn. So let me widen this out a little bit so it's easier for y'all to see. So you can see those very kind of bright reds, and that's indicating me that we're seeing some strong winds out there. Okay. So no new updates from the National Weather Service. Still just have that special weather statement in effect again for central Burleson, northwestern Grimes, and central Brazos. Oh, okay, they're typing. So we will see. Okay. Amber said, did the tornado touch down this morning? We did have a confirmed tornado touchdown this morning in Grimes County. Okay. Another storm. Okay. So Houston office, another special weather statement coming out for storm and Grimes going into Walker County. Pea-size hail and winds up to 40 miles per hour will be possible. Okay, so we kind of see this trend continuing with these special weather statements, and this is kind of what we knew going into today, that wind and hail were going to be the key factors here, specifically with this cluster. So they haven't issued that yet, but they will. So let's take a look at that. They said Grimes going into Walker County. So I anticipate it's Huntsville friends. Yeah. Okay. We can pause that here. Okay. So I want to look. You can kind of see the reason I think that we're getting these gusty winds. You can see this bowing out, and anytime that you see that, it's those gusty winds pushing out that front. You see that a lot with those mesoscale convective systems, something that we saw a little early this morning, Friday night, and those are producers of gusty winds. So we can go ahead and get a velocity again. This is northwest Walker County, so just south of I-45, and we are picking up there. I'm not sure what's happening with my radar here, but it's kind of going in and out with some pink reflectivities. So that could be that pea-size hail signature that they picked up on. We can take a look. So we'll wait for the next radar scan to come in, see if we can pick up on some of that hail. But, yeah, for areas north and west of Walker County or I-45, watching for heavy rainfall. Pea-size hail and gusty winds upwards of 40 miles per hour. Okay. Badias, still seeing rain. Okay. So they have just issued it. Here we go. Let's see if I can get in here. Okay. So here is the verbiage, another special weather statement, which essentially means that we have the ingredients to get severe, but it's sub-severe. Still impactful weather. So, a strong thunderstorm will impact southwestern Trinity, northeastern Grimes, northwestern Montgomery, west central San Jacinto, southwestern Houston, southeastern Madison, and Walker counties through 8:30. So that is a lot of us. And 12 miles west of Huntsville, moving east at 40 miles per hour, wind gusts upwards of 40 miles per hour, and pea-size hail. Okay. So let's take a closer look. We're also starting to see, I want to watch for our southern counties. We're getting some scattered activity out ahead of this main cluster. And those are picking up steam too. Okay. So let's go ahead and get another, actually, you know what I'm going to do? Let's do storm track, and then we'll dive into, okay. There's a lot happening. Let me go back to Caldwell, actually, because I'm starting to see some pink. So I want to kind of reevaluate. Okay, maybe that was just a scare. Okay. So still pea-size hail moving into Caldwell. We'll watch that closely. But I do want to shift to the south and east, mainly where that broad stroke that special weather statement was. Okay. So, and we still have that special weather statement in effect for Brazos County. Both are set to expire at 8:30. So I'm just gonna hang tight, and we will we'll watch these. So this is the cluster that was special warned, and it's got very deep red. So very heavy rainfall expected to move into Huntsville very soon. I want to, let's see. Okay. It's moving east at 35 knots. So let's get a storm track here for this special warned area. This is Walker County, and really a broad stroke of us across the south and east of the area. So this just give you an idea of what we're looking at. Again, moving east. Okay. So here's a timeline for this system to move into your area. 8:01 Crabs Prairie, 8:08 Huntsville Municipal, 8:08 Pine Prairie, and then by 8:15-ish, it's in Huntsville. 8:25 Dodge, 8:34 Oakhurst, 8:42 Point Blank. And so you'll kind of get that. And I am seeing, I kind of want to shift focus back to BCS once again, because I'm starting to see some pink populate. Okay, let me check in with y'all here. Linda, yeah, this morning was very efficient rainmaker, and I think that I anticipate that this system will also give you pretty good rainfall back in the rain gauge. Storm is moving faster, hitting Roans Prairie. And Leslie, how fast will it move out of College Station? So we can look at that. Before we get there, it's pouring here, so I don't know if y'all can hear it on my mic, but it's loud. Okay. There's a little bit of a hail signature. That is just east of Bryan, so we're not quite in there, and this is sub-severe hail. And I anticipate when I get a reading back on this, radar indicated pea-size hail. So heavy rainfall and potentially some pea-size hail falling just south and west of Curtin and east of Bryan. We've got a little pocket in there. Okay. I'm going to take another broad stroke out here and see. Okay. The The wind is strong on Southwest Parkway and Texas Avenue. Yeah. College Station, BCS getting the brunt of it right now. I anticipate it to be in College Station, South College Station, pretty here soon. And I do want to get a storm track on for y'all about when we could potentially expect this to be out of the area. And again, this isn't going to be as accurate as we want, but it gives you a reference point to potentially get this activity out of the area. So what I'm going to do is kind of shift it. Okay. So what I attached, or where I started that reference point, that is where we are starting to see that backfill of light to moderate rain. Still some thunderstorm activity, but not nearly as intense as those reds that are over BCS at the moment. So hopefully we can start to clear this up. We can start to get some of that lighter rain to move into BCS around 8:21, 8:14 Bryan, 8:30 Iola, 8:33 Wellborn. That doesn't mean the rain will stop. I just think that will start to calm things down, hopefully. Okay, let me check up with y'all. Cheyenne said, any concerns of tornadoes for northwestern Grimes? At the moment, no, Cheyenne. And there is no, we haven't gotten a severe thunderstorm watches for any of the clusters that are moving across the area. But I don't want to completely say hard no, just because things can flip on a dime, especially as these systems continue to move in a very moisture, unstable environment. We could definitely see some spin, but at the moment, I'm not seeing anything that would indicate to me that there's a tornado, and the National Weather Service has not issued anything either. So right now we're good. Patricia, raining hard, curtain. Is it out of Hearn? Hearn still seeing some, light to even moderate rain, but hopefully we can start to get that to calm down very soon. And we can check in on velocity scope again and just check out rotation, see what we're looking at for wind speeds. Caldwell, or Burleson County, I should say, is just had very gusty winds for the last 15 minutes or so. So I do want to get another velocity scope on this system. Yeah, we're really starting to see those bright reds, but I don't see any tight rotation. I'm watching this little area just north of Bryan. Sorry, I'm going to get a sip of water super quick. Okay, so there is some broad rotation just north of Cementa and Bryan, but until I see some higher colored greens, I don't. Let's see if that updraft is giving us some hail. Yeah, that might just be. So still some pea-size hail, but I'm not picking up. Yeah, of course, there's just this pocket over Cook's Point. So pea-size hail. Now over Cook's Point. Okay, let me check. Crystal, is there any chances of tornadoes or hail in Midway? I think hail is a higher concern, and kind of what I was saying is hail or tornado concern is a low concern, but it's a non-zero chance. So right now I haven't seen anything indicative of spin or tight rotation through the remainder of your early evening. So at the moment, with what I'm seeing here on live radar, no, but it's a non-zero chance. So we'll be watching rotation closely. I do think, though, once we get this red line, I don't even know what to call it, so messy, to move out of your area, that severe risk goes way down. So, if that is any consolation. There's just not anything driving strong storms. Oh my goodness. I don't know what happened here. Okay, I'm lost. Sorry. My radar went rogue. Okay, here we go. Say, Alexia goes by. There are no active tornado warnings. There are no active tornado warnings for Caldwell, Texas, no, at the moment. Okay. So now we're going to kind of flip the script from hail and winds, and we're talking about rain. So we just got a message. Have a flood advisory out for northern Brazos County. Tends to be a bit of flashier area, and there's some concern for Estelle and Burleson to train over that area. Also keeping an eye on the Burleson storm for... Okay. Yeah. It has been trying to intensify, can't make up its mind with polygon drawn. Usually that kills off. Okay. So, National Weather Service is tracking that cell in Burleson County that has got that hail core that we've been seeing for quite a while. So they're watching that for hail to potentially intensify. So, into severe concerns. At the moment, it's not severe, but the National Weather Service is watching that. And there will be a flood advisory in effect for northern Brazos County. And that has not come out yet, so. Okay. Paul Sisson, what about South College Station? If you are at the chicken bone of the college of Brazos County, haven't quite seen that yet, but Wellborn, and just off of William D. Fitch, starting to see some of that rain move through. So, yeah, we've got very high reflectivity reds. This is all northeast of Bryan, so I anticipate any folks in Bryan College Station, you might be seeing some heavier rainfall here soon. Oh no, Kendra said our lights went out for a few minutes. The lightning hit a transformer. It was loud and a few sparks about 30 minutes ago or so. Oh no, Kendra. Yeah. Power outages definitely possible, especially with how electric these thunderstorms are. And I can hear it here at the station. It's very loud. Kendra, do you mind sharing where you where that lightning strike hit or where you live? No worries if not. Okay. Hey Dana. Dana is in Snook. And it's raining there. Hard. Okay. I do want to check in on our little hail core that we've been watching in North Burleson County. Okay. So still radar indicated P. And I have not seen those whites or blues. And that's usually when we start to see some bigger hail pull up. But I haven't quite seen that yet. So that is a good sign to me. But still impactful hail. Sub-severe, but we'll watch that closely. And this new flood advisory that is coming out, that is for North Brazos. And so I want to take a moment to look at rainfall rates because there at Easterwood Airport we have already picked up 1.5 inches. That was from this morning, so I do anticipate that we will see those totals increased. Okay. Yeah. So, let's take a look at rainfall rates. Just poke around here. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of rain. That's just northeast of Cementa. About radar indicated 4.20 inches per hour. So, pulling on the roads, poor drainage areas, make sure to turn around, don't drown. Take all the necessary precautions. I urge you to stay inside, just because grounds are saturated, so it's not going to do a good job at soaking it up, especially from the first round this morning. Okay, so this is just south of Curtin, 4.75 inches per hour. Now, this is radar indicated, so it's not confirmed, but it gives you an idea of how fast and how hard this rain is falling. Martha said, good evening, it's raining pretty. Yes. Yeah, Badias. You can see that here. We can actually look at rainfall rates. We'll just drag this over. So Badias picking up. Here we go. If it'll let me. Okay, about 3 inches per hour. So, our central Brazos Valley counties, you're definitely seeing some significant rain. And I do want to see if they have issued that. They've not quite issued that flood advisory. Maybe they have. Let's see. So I can reach all the verbiage of that. Yeah, Dana getting good rain now. That's great. Yeah, right now it's safe rain. So we need rain, but I'm hoping that it stays safe and sub-severe. Hopefully we can continue the trend, but still watching for hail and gusty winds. Unfortunately, we can't have heavy rain without the others. Okay, so that flood advisory is out. I guess it's taking a little bit for my thing to catch up. Okay, so I want to read y'all. This is for North Brazos, a flood advisory. So this is in effect until 10 p.m. this evening. Flooding caused by excessive rainfall is expected. Brazos, Burleson, and Madison. Minor flooding and low-lying and poor drainage areas. So similar to those impacts that we just outlined. Let's see. So up to 0.5 inches of rain has fallen. Additional rainfall amounts of 1 to 2 inches are expected over the area. This additional rain will result in minor flooding. Some locations that will experience flooding include College Station, Bryan, Curtin, Wixon Valley, and Kylefield. So that is mainly going to be across your roadways, and the poor drainage areas definitely could see some pooling along those roads and in low-lying areas. So if you are out on the roads, again, make sure to turn around. Don't drown. If you cannot see the road, do not drive through it, because the significant pooling is possible, especially how fast this rain is falling and how hard and how much we saw this morning. So kind of a double-edged sword here. Phyllis, 3 inches of rain between last night and now. Yes. Both systems that we saw, round 1 and round 2, very efficient weather makers. And I want to note that while we have a flood advisory in effect for only the northern portions of Brazos and Madison and Grimes, we're all in a flood watch. So it's very well possible that any of us could get a flood advisory for the remainder of the area, just because of how efficient this rain is falling. Okay. Pouring in Iola, Cheyenne, big lightning, thunder, heavy rain north of Carlos. Yes. Yeah. Let me go up. I think I missed a few messages from y'all. Sorry, Monty, if I'm mispronouncing stuff. I think I'm probably talking too fast. Thank you, Lewis. That's good to know. Be dice. I will fix that from now on. Brandon, Purett, heavy storm. Brian just got message. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So watching for those strong thunderstorms. Again, we're still special weather statement for those central counties of the Brazos Valley, Walker County. I am seeing it is coming down hard here at the station. I don't know if y'all can hear that on my mic. I'm sure you hear it at your house if you are. Okay. Paul said, is South College Station going to get bad wind again? It's possible. Right now, though, our storms have kind of capped off at 40 miles per hour. So that's just under that severe category. Usually with those severe storms, we're picking up about 60 miles per hour. And that was what a lot of folks were experiencing across the Brazos Valley. Potentially even more than 60 miles per hour. So right now we're at 40 miles per hour. And I do anticipate that trend to continue for the time being. So it's still significant. It's still going to potentially knock some trees on the roads and mess with the Halloween decorations. Iola is storming, heavy rain and wind. Any tornado threats? Grace, at the moment, no tornado threats. It's mainly just been a hail and wind threat today. And heavy rain, obviously. Cynthia, how's the wind looking for Caldwell the rest of the storm? We can go ahead. I know a lot of y'all are asking about wind, so we'll just go, we'll do velocity scope, and we'll kind of poke around some systems just so y'all can get an idea. A lot of the wind... okay. So this is that hail core, which I didn't mean to even pull up, but it's good news because I don't see really much feedback for those pea-sized pockets of hail in Burleson County. So we're really starting to see that dissolve. You can see that gray kind of dissolve. So that's great news. Now it's just kind of heavy rain. I want to stop here and let's just poke around and see what we're looking at for winds, because obviously that is a big concern with these systems. So starting to see some higher colors just west of Bryan College Station. Let's see what radar is picking up. Okay, 43 miles per hour. So where I place that is just on the border of Burleson and Brazos County. So it's blowing hard out there. Those are impactful winds. That's under the severe category, but it's strong winds. So 31 miles per hour, now moving into Bryan College Station, South Burleson, 26 miles per hour. Okay, I want to take this over here. And this is where I'm seeing, right on that intersection between eastern Burleson and into western Brazos is where I'm seeing that highest red color, and that's where we're picking up those highest winds. Okay. Paul said, any hail for South College Station? I can check that for you. Okay. So right now at the moment, no. Just heavy rain, but you could find some pea-size hail definitely embedded with that heavy rainfall. And I did want to note, we just got in our from the National Weather Service, they said that on Highway 6 and Woodville, 2 inches per hour was recorded at 8:09 p.m. So picking up a significant amount of rain, and I actually want to kind of do a little deep dive on Easterwood Airport. That is the airport in College Station that we get a lot of our data from. And I want to see how much rain. Okay, so Easterwood Airport has picked up gusts upwards of 35 miles per hour. So that's, if y'all don't know where Easterwood Airport is, it's just west of kind of in between Bryan and College Station, but to the west of both. Okay. So, again, very efficient rainmakers. And if you're just joining me, a flood advisory is in effect for North Brazos. Okay. Nothing new from National Weather Service, so we're staying good. Okay. Looks like... Okay. Any bad weather for Madisonville? We can check back in on Madisonville. I think you might be done with the worst of it. A lot of those stronger storms now moving into Grimes, Brazos, Burleson really losing a lot of strength with this system. You saw heavy rainfall just about 30 minutes ago. Milam County still experiencing very heavy rainfall. Very disorganized, but you can see how all of these higher reflectivities within this system. So heavy rainfall, gusty winds, and hail, my main concerns at the moment. And I'm starting to see some pinks now populate. We can take a little, so just east of Highway 45, I-45, New Waverly, we're starting to pick up some pinks here. So heavy rainfall falling in these areas. It's a mess out there. Paul said, is there anything behind this storm? So I do want to turn on this because it just gives me a little bit better idea. This is a lot messier of a radar loop, but so mainly behind it is just it's light to moderate rain. But I think once we get that red line to move past, we start to calm things down, but that doesn't mean we're completely out of the wood in terms of rain falling from the sky. And I do want to check if we are getting any better model initialization here. And so I can give y'all a little bit of a better idea of when we can kind of wrap this activity up. So this is 8, and yeah, so this is just, this particular model is just struggling to initialize those storms. So I don't really want to show y'all that because I just don't think it's all that accurate after looking at radar. Let's see if our other high-res model is doing a better job. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, this is looking a little bit more on brand for me. So I'm going to walk you through forecast radar. Ignore the percentages on the side. Those are not applicable to this forecast radar loop, but this is our higher res model that initializes a lot faster. And I just pulled it from our library, so it's not up to date in terms of percentages, but it is up to date on what you see here on our reflectivities. So here's around 10, and then we continue that for around midnight. So as we get into the late evening hours, we could start to see some clearing towards the northwestern areas of the area. So this just, I'll go through this slow for y'all. So again, here's around 9. It's not perfect, but it gives you an idea of what to expect. And of course you see those higher reflectivities within those storms, and that is expected. That's what we've been seeing as I've kind of walked us around live radar. So here's 10. And then that continues to move out of the area, and then we should be clear. Hopefully by the time we hit around midnight. I want to take a live eye look outside. This is at Briarcrest. And you can see how much temperatures have dropped. So I don't know who was with me when we last looked at live eye, but if you remember, it was about 72 degrees. So we have dropped significantly as you step outside. That's all due to that rain cooled air. In fact, we can take a look at temperatures across the area. I mean, we didn't warm up much to begin with, so it's easy to cool us down. Oh, at least it feels nice outside, I guess. Okay, we're getting a new chat in here from NWS. It does look like visibility is a little reduced out there on our live eye. So, again, driving. Just give yourself plenty of time if you're out there out and about. Of course, don't drive through big puddles of pooling road that are pooling on the road. Alright, so I want to take a look at temperatures and see if we are kind of the difference that we're seeing in temperatures from those of us who've seen rain and those of us who... Okay. Well, that is not good. Okay, so it looks like a lot of our recording sites are out for the counties that you need. So we will work with what we've got. I would assume Milam, Robertson, Leon County all are in the low 60s, and that trend continues for the central portions. Jason, heavy rainfall in Wellborn, and the lights just flickered. Yeah, and I am picking up. I can see lightning flashing here. This is Briarcrest on Highway 6, and I can see flashes of light in the back. So very, very electric thunderstorms. So we can go ahead and do another tour of radar here. Nothing new from the National Weather Service, and I do want to make sure that they have let those severe or those special weather statements expire. So we've got about a minute on the 2 special weather statements that we had in effect. And it looks like they are going to let those expire. Okay. So let's head back down. Oh, it is just mess. It's not looking pretty out there. Okay. So I want to just stop again. And oh, it's very, very disorganized. Very, very disorganized, messy cluster. There we go. Okay, so you can see all of those reds. So Brazos, Grimes, Walker, now moving into northern Montgomery, San Jacinto, Trinity County. Y'all are experiencing very, very heavy rainfall. We can take a look at rainfall rates here. Okay, so I would not be surprised if we get a couple more special weather statements, if not flood advisories, issued for these areas, because it's pouring. Okay. Okay, 3.95 inches per hour. That's South College Station. I mean, this is radar estimated, so it's not accurate, or it's not the total estimate of what you're getting, but it gives you an idea of how much is falling. And again, North Brazos has a flood advisory in effect for that heavy rain. And northern Grimes, you can see just all of these higher reflectivities, so okay, just south of B-Dice, 4.5 inches per hour. 5.20 inches per hour. That's South Brazos. So very, very efficient rainmakers. And I just want to, if you're just joining me, okay, we'll touch on that here in just a second. If you're just joining me, flood watches are in effect for all 16 counties, and you can guess why. Just because grounds are saturated and our rainfall rates are extremely high, especially to the central portions of the area. Okay, so we did get a new special weather statement in. So I will read you all the verbiage here. Okay, so this is a lot of folks. So if you do hear your county, you're included in this special weather statement. Strong thunderstorms will impact Grimes, Brazos, Washington, Montgomery, San Jacinto, South Central Houston, Southeastern Madison, Waller, Polk, Walker, Trinity, North Central Colorado, Northern Austin, Burleson, and Northwestern Liberty counties through 9:30. So another hour. And it says at 8:28, Doppler radar was tracking strong thunderstorms along a line about 7 miles northeast of Montgomery to near Somerville. Movement was southeast at 30 miles per hour. Hazard wind gusts upwards of 40 miles per hour and pea-size hail. Okay. So that has been the verbiage that we have been getting all night. And that is just the extent that these storms have gone to. So, again, gusty winds, heavy rainfall. And this, essentially this special weather statement is everywhere that you see red. So all of those counties that I just mentioned, it's watching for those strong thunderstorms, but we're sub-severe at this moment. So let's take a dive into wind here. That's good. Paul said there's hardly any wind in South College Station. That is good. And I'm hoping that that has kind of y'all have kind of pushed some of that heavier stuff out of the way, or at least it's going to move out of the way in the next few minutes or so. Okay, so let's make this a little bit smaller. This is obviously just a mess. When we take a look at velocities. And we're kind of switching, the reason why we're switching between our Fort Hood radar to the Houston radar. So that intersection kind of makes it hard for those radars to pick up data. So it's not as clean and cut as when we were looking up towards northern Brazos. But hopefully we can still pull some good data here for y'all about wind speed and that hail threat. Okay, so just north of Conroe, 20 miles per hour. 18 miles per hour. Okay, Martha said it's pouring here in Beat Ice. Pamela, any hail expected in BCS? I think BCS may have be done. I mean, obviously it's still raining very hard. But I think that the bulk of that has kind of missed us. But we'll be watching from the west to see if we get clipped once again. But right now, I'm not seeing any hail cores across Bryan. Okay. So I want to get us back to where we were. And it is calmed down. I'm not hearing the rain is falling as hard here in the station in Bryan. So I think a lot of that is starting to push out. Yeah, and that looks a lot better. It's our Live Eye network on Briarcrest. So I think we're starting to fill in with some lighter rain in Bryan. But obviously a lot of the bulk of the activity now moving to our southwestern county. So we're keeping eyes on our friends to the south. In fact, a good chunk of us, the southeastern portion, in that special weather statement. Martha, thundering and lightning really bad. Yes, yeah. Thunder, it has been extremely electric out there. And take a look. Number of strikes, every 30 minutes, 349 strikes. So still very impactful. That doesn't take away that lightning is very dangerous. So I think it's best that a lot of us stay inside, but we're kind of switching between radars. So if you see jumps, that is why. I want to take a little tour of hail, because that was obviously in the special weather statement and why they included that. Okay. So a lot of the activity that I am seeing has it kind of bubbles up And as fast as it bubbles up, it bubbles back down. That's essentially that downdraft just overtaking that updraft is rather quickly. Okay, so we did get some good news from the National Weather Service. They said put out a large storm prediction center, a strong special weather statement to accommodate the entirety of the line. So all of those counties that I just listed in that special weather statement, they want to note that nothing within the line itself is currently indicative of severe, but there have been numerous reports of wind gusts over 30 miles per hour. The Huntsville airport gusted to 37 miles per hour. Small hail and heavy rainfall also be possible. We'll watch for any strengthening of individual storms within the line itself. So that's great news. So now we're just kind of sitting with our generic thunderstorm impacts here. And I do want to take us back. Now that we've kind of pushed this line to the south and east, we can see what future radar is showing us. So this is 11 p.m. This is very far from perfect, but does have this complex moving out of the area as we get around closer to midnight. I think we wrap it up a little bit closer, a little faster than that, but I'm going to take a seat because I just realized I've been standing for this entire hour. Okay. Okay. So, let's take a look at rainfall forecast. Again, this was our other worry with this second complex, and it wasn't just because, okay, so this is picking up. It's kind of already taken out the rounds that we saw this morning. So, could potentially find for Belleville, Hempstead, Conroe, just less than an inch of rain additional. And it's not picking up our northern counties just because we've kind of missed that time frame. It can't go back in the past. So I think a lot of the activity is kind of that heavy rainfall has already fallen towards our northern counties. B said pouring here in South College Station like there's not tomorrow. Yes, it is. It's pouring. It's loud. And again, everything is staying sub-severe. So that is great news. D said, is Hearn done? I think you still find some light to moderate rain, but I think the bulk of the activity is moves past Hearn. So hopefully we can start to clear this up as this boundary moves out of the way and pushes to our south. I am starting to pick up some pinks here in that northwest corner of Lee County. Let's see if we're picking up hail moving back into Burleson. Okay. So I would not be surprised if they special weather statement this main cluster now moving into Burleson County. So M&M. That is just in that corner of Lee County now moving into Burleson County. Brigitte, any tornado watches? No, ma'am. No tornado watches, and there has been no severe weather at this time. But still impactful. We've had a handful of special weather statements. Oh, sorry, Gail. My mic has been messing up. I will try to fix that. Okay. So, does anyone have any more questions? Right now it's just rainy, it's rumbly, it's gusty. A lot of lightning flashes, very messy out there. We've got that special weather statement in effect through 9:30. So, at this moment in time, I think I will probably hop off. If there is any severe weather that does start to populate, we will definitely hop back on here and keep you warned. But for right now, it's rainy, it's rumbly. We'll just try to get this storm to pass. And as always, stay weather prepared. We're going to be here watching these storms all night. Courtney said, do you think Brenham will be able to hit? Yeah, it does look like you'll have a cell moving in to Brenham, just north of Brenham, so you could definitely get clipped with some rain, with some additional rain. But yes, for now, I'm going to hop off. But of course, if there's any severe thunderstorm warnings that go into effect, or if we start to see some significant hail and wind gusts, I will hop back on, and we will go through everything again. But we will just ride out this storm. As always, stay safe out there. And I'm happy to see safe rain moving back across the area. So hopefully it continues to stay that way through the remainder of your evening. And before I go, we kind of, after we get past this Saturday, kind of something to look forward to. This is your 10-day forecast, and you'll be happy to see that we have upper 60s on the board for your afternoon highs for your Wednesday and Thursday. So that is something to look forward to. We got rain this weekend, and we'll get some cooler temperatures next week if you're a fan of fall. So might need to start dusting off the rain jackets. So all that to look forward to, but until then, we'll get through this Saturday evening. And thank y'all so much for joining me this evening. And yeah, if anything scary happens, I will be back to see y'all. Y'all have a great rest of your evening.